And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon side, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and shoot you guys a welcome message over on Amazon. If you all are new, make sure you guys do hit that button over in this corner or down below so you can be able to follow us to stay connected with all of our programming. Also, you will see the books by our next guest. We're excited to welcome back Dr. Teresa A. Smith or Dr. Taz to our broadcast. She's the author of several books, including one that is coming up that we're on a mission to make a number one new release. That is her book, Dr. Taz Speaks. You guys can see it there. Empower Your Journey, 31-Day Meditation. I have it highlighted right now in the carousel for those tuning in on the Amazon side. If you guys are not joining us on Amazon, we welcome you guys on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, as well as on Instagram. If you guys have any questions or comments for Dr. Taz, make sure you guys do put those in the comment section for us. We'll be glad to be able to bring those in. But Dr. Taz, hello to you and welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Cyrus.
Well, look, it's a pleasure. It's definitely always mine. So, Dr. Taz, you're gearing up for the new book. As I mentioned, Dr. Taz Speaks, Empower Your Journey, 31-Day Meditation. I want to get into that. But I want to talk about what it's been like for you, Dr. Taz, to be able to empower your audience using the lessons you've been able to learn to be able to help them in their own lives.
Cyrus, it's very rewarding. Life can be a challenge, and I know that better than anyone. And sometimes we are our own worst enemy. It's not the other people, it's us. And so I've had to learn that. And so some of the things that you will find in the book are things that I tell myself on a day-to-day basis. And so I realized that, it helps me and I want to be able to help other people. And I can talk to people, but sometimes you need to have something to hold in your hand. And I always say in the middle of the night when you can't pick up the phone and call someone or you text somebody, it's like, oh my God, it's 2 a.m. So when you've got something that's tangible, then you can refer to it. And so that's what I wanted to do with this particular book. I wanted to be able to give the readers something that they could hold on to so that regardless of what was happening in their life, they could pick up the book and whatever page they turn to, hopefully it would be something that would give them some encouragement.
Yeah. So I want to talk to you, Dr. Taz, about yourself. I mean, as you've been able to use your platform to talk about Stronger, Transformation, and have your other books here, From Bravery to Victory is another one. What has it been like for you to know that just by your sharing your story, that you've been able to empower and inspire people and remind them of what's possible?
I think about a group of students that I had probably about 7 or 8 years ago now. And I think they really sort of picked me up, as an awkward way to say it. But it was right before I actually released Stronger. And I was talking to them about the fact that I was about to release this book. And they really encouraged me because, Stronger is also an audio book. And they encouraged me to share my story. We were doing something sort of like an intensive. We spent some time together. It was an intensive, we call it residency, but it was an intensive time together. So we got to know each other. And so at the end of our time together, they knew me and I knew them. And they were telling me how they had learned from my experiences. And some of them were able to change the trajectory of their lives. And so as a result of that, it was very encouraging for me to be more open about my story as I saw it. And I would also like to say this, Cyrus, not to apologize about my story, because there was a time where I kind of sugarcoated a little bit, but I've learned I don't have to be apologetic about my story because my story is who I am and it makes me who I am. And if I have to apologize for who I am and how I became who I am, then that's not being authentic. And no one should have to do that in order to fit in or to quote unquote be accepted by others. So I think that, I think that that's been very empowering for me. And I think that those who've been around me, it's helped to empower them also.
Yeah. Well, Taz, we see you there. It looks like in your kitchen there. You also been able to give us a healthy recipe book as well. I want to talk about the Dr. Taz brand, right? Because first of all, what has it been like for you to realize that not only are you a brand, but you're a brand that people are beginning to recognize?
Now that's humbling, Cyrus. And I'm going to tell you, it's a struggle because, again, I have to remain true to who I am. And, people will test you. And I mean that in the best of ways, because life is always about testing, whether you're going to sway this way or you're going to sway that way. But I want to say to folks, and this is what I tell myself too, because I was dealing with something last week. And I said to a friend of mine that I've known since like 19, before she went to law school. So this is like in the early 90s. And I said to her, I said, you know, Rose, people would say to me to do X, Y, Z. Basically, they would say, don't care. But I can't not care. Because for me not to care would mean that it would be against everything that I am, who I am as a person, and in Cyrus, who I am as a brand. So I cannot not care. It's just not in my DNA. And so when your brand is a part of your DNA, it's a little different because it's who I am. It's me. It's not something external to me. So therefore, I have to handle it with kid gloves because I live and breathe it every day. And that's a huge responsibility.
Such a great point. I want to say hello to those tuning in on IG. Marcy, hello to you. Marcy says is there. Stacy Love Style, hello to you, Stacy. Good to be able to see you. And Kalina Blanca, good to be able to see you as well. For those who are just joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X as well, welcome. You all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents. We're actually on Amazon Live, but you guys are watching us as well through the simulcast. If you guys are interested in any of Dr. Taz's books, you'll find a link that will bring you guys over to Amazon. Her newest book that she's getting ready to release this year is one we were talking about earlier, Dr. Taz Speaks, Empower Your Journey, 31-Day Meditation. But she's the author of other books that you guys can see here as well, that being books like Stronger, as you guys saw earlier, here next to me. Also the book Transformation. You all can see that. It's in the carousel here on the Amazon side. Also, you have From Bravery to Victory. I mentioned that earlier. It's an ebook you all can be able to get. And her book, Transformation, The Bounce Back. Now, there also is, if you guys have noticed, on the Amazon side, there's Transform with Taz Healthy Recipes. So, Taz, you're in the kitchen right now. Cooking has become part of your brand. You've been able to share even through your own talk show. Talk to us about that. What it's been like for you to marry your love of cooking as well as conversations, too.
Yes, sir. I think it's the best of both worlds. I could think about when I was a little girl, my grandmother, my father's mother, so my paternal grandmother, I can remember her making homemade biscuits. And I would be sitting at the table and really, guys, she baked homemade biscuits. And we'd be talking. And so it was just such a natural thing. And then, of course, I started cooking with my mom. And we were always talking. And I got so many life lessons from both of them. And so to me, it's just a natural part of what I do to be able to cook and share that part of my life. And then to be able to have my kitchen conversations is what I refer to it as with my guests. And I think, you know, as a culture, and that's all cultures, it's something about sitting down at some point, somewhere eating. It may not be at the dining room table or the kitchen table, sitting and having that conversation over food. I think so much is accomplished over that. And so I just want people to feel comfortable. And I think also it kind of lessens the, it's not like it's a lecture because we eating, I'm cooking, and then you're listening and you're getting little nuggets along the way. So for me, it's just a perfect marriage of two things that I love.
Love that. Hello to you, Miss Queenie. Good to be able to see you over on the Facebook side. Tina Siemens is joining us. Hey, Tina. Tina says, good evening. I've enjoyed all the conversations through the day. Great conversations. Thank you for that, Tina. Let's talk about Tribe, because that's another thing that you've been able to build. Taz, what has that been like for you to build your own circle of support that is there for you to not only be able to inspire one another, but also be able to help you in sharing your message?
Oh, Cyrus, now that's something, I'm too transparent. I can remember years ago now, and I'm like, oh, I need a tribe. And it's like, and somebody always tell me, you just get all hung up. Martha, I think is what I'd be called at that point. Leave that alone, Martha. Martha said to me, and that's probably about 4 years ago. Leave it alone, Martha. But, you know, it happened organically. And now to see it and to realize that the people are there. And they're supporting me, and then I'm able to support them also. It's really heartwarming, you know. It's a give and take, and that's what it's all about. And what I've learned is, and this is through, guys, I'm in my 50s, and I'm so thankful to be in my 50s, so I don't mind telling my age. What I've learned through all the years is that it's not about what we say, it's about what we do. Sometimes, Taz, it takes me a long time to get something done, but I eventually get to it because I did some things last week. I don't know if the people even know yet, but it was on my list. But last week it was the day to do it, so I got it done. And so I think that when people see that you're genuine, they will genuinely support you also. And my hope is that my tribe knows that and know that I have their best interest at heart also. And so it's a mutual admiration and support society.
Yeah. I want to talk about another thing that's so important, and you talk about this with your audience, and we've talked about it before as well, Taz, and that is the importance of, we all have heard the saying about, not tooting your own horn. I think we have gone wrong with that saying, because I think what it has done is made us feel bad about celebrating what we've been able to achieve. So I want to ask you about that. You mentioned about not feeling bad about your story, but what has it been like for you to be okay with celebrating you?
Now, Cyrus, I'm a babe and I'm getting better. Um, it is a struggle. And I would say some of this comes from my upbringing. I grew up in a family where we just didn't put it out there. And even now, my parents don't really put it out there. And so and then when you layer all the other things that I've experienced, it makes it real challenging for me. But I will tell you one thing, my tribe,
Mhm.
I'm getting accustomed to people saying congratulations. I'm happy for you. God has some, I'm getting accustomed to hearing it. And the more I hear it, and I can tell they're genuinely happy for me. So now it's almost like that's beginning to give me permission to say, well, you did do a good job. Well, you have accomplished something. You should celebrate that. And that's because I'm in my infancy and I'm getting there. And I think it's important for me to get there, though, Cyrus, because I need to model that. Because I'm not the only person who doesn't know how to celebrate their successes. And we have to balance. I talk about a balanced life, but if I can't celebrate my successes and I'm always looking at the glass half empty, then there's no balance in my life. And I have to get to that place where there's a balance.
So true. Now let's hello to you. Good to be able to see you over on the IG side, and that is a great thing here, Taz. And that's why I wanted to bring that up, because it is a problem. Men and women both have that problem, I think. And I think too, again, I get it from a standpoint. You don't want to be arrogant. You don't want to be cocky. But there's nothing wrong with realizing where you've come from. There's nothing wrong with realizing what you've overcome. There's nothing wrong with realizing whether it's passing a test,
Yes.
getting a child through 17 years of getting them out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are so many things I think that we need to celebrate, because again, we are kind of bombarded with what's not happening, what you aren't doing. But I think realizing who you are. So I want to ask you this as we kind of talk again about the new book, Taz. How important is it for your readers as they kind of pick up the new book in particular to do exactly what you said here? I want to read what you wrote here. For those who are looking at the caption here, I'm going to highlight it on the Amazon side, but here Dr. Todd says about the new book: each day you'll discover powerful affirmations to reinforce your self-worth and embrace positive thinking, practical self-care advice to enhance your mental and emotional well-being, and inspiring reflections to gain insights that motivate and guide you toward a better you. That's something all of us should be wanting to do daily. So how do you hope your book does that, Taz, in helping people to daily give themselves that proverbial pat on the back as to what they are doing?
Cyrus, let me kind of jump into it from an odd statement.
Okay.
I think I said in Stronger, someone characterized me as the ugliest little black girl that she'd ever seen. And I write about that in Stronger, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that we all, as you said, those external influences, we battle them all the time. It may not be somebody saying you're the ugliest little black child they've ever seen, but you're getting it all the time. And I think that my hope is with the new book, Empowering Your Journey every day, because you have to actually do it every day.
Right.
My hope is that what the reader will understand is, and the way I've structured it is, there is a lead in, and it's a statement, but it's what I want you to do to center yourself. So it's what I want you to look at that particular day's activities, readings, and affirmation. That's the way I want you to engage with it, because you have to set your intentions. So that's basically what I want you to do. Set your intentions based upon that particular lead in. And then once you've done that, you take that with you throughout the day, because basically all day long you're constantly fueling your body, your mind, your soul, because you're going to be bombarded by lots of things that are going to try to pull that joy that you have put in you at whatever time during the day. They're going to try to pull that out of you, not because they're out to get you, but it's life. Yep. It's life. And you have to continually fuel your journey or empower your journey. So my hope is that it's almost like insulating yourself. And we have to do that. And it's like when you talk about celebrating ourselves, basically what we're doing is we're laying the building blocks to be able to do that. Because if we can ever get to a place where we feel empowered, then we're able to look at things the way they truly are. They may bother us, but we don't let them hurt us. And that's a big difference between something bothering us and something hurting us. And I think that comes through the meditation, that comes through the affirmation, because these are things that we're speaking into existence. But I also have to say this, Cyrus, and for those who know me, they know it's always a workbook with Dr. Taz, because we got to do the work. Now, in this book, there are going to be some activities. There are going to be some statements. You're going to have to answer some questions, because it doesn't just happen.
Right.
I can get up and say as many affirmations all day long, but if I'm not doing a little work, the affirmations may not work, or they may work for this moment, but I need them to last a lifetime, and that requires work. And that's what I want to do in this particular meditation book. I want to lay a foundation so that the reader feels, one, that they're worthy, because things will happen that make them feel that they're not worthy, but they are worthy. But they have to make sure that they know it. And that's what I want them to know, having gone through this journal. I should say journal, but this meditation book. It is a journal, you guys.
Yeah. Kathy Josefo is joining us. She says, hashtag Team Teresa. I like that. You have a new hashtag, Dr. Kathy. Hashtag Team Teresa in the house. I've been listening on LinkedIn, but switched over here. Thank you so much for joining us over on Facebook, Kathy. So I want to talk about then what your hope is then, Taz, because, we all need that extra push, all of us. None of us graduate, as you talked about in transformation. Change is challenging, right? And for some people, those self-limiting beliefs can be deeply ingrained, but also that idea of what is not possible for them is deeply ingrained. What do you hope that your platform and your messages and your books do to help get people unstuck?
Cyrus, we talk about imposter syndrome. We call it many different things. My hope is that people get to a place where they feel secure enough, even if it's just within themselves, that they can be honest, and then go about doing the work through the books that I have, or even with me, even through consultations, about how they can become the best version of themselves. Because really, it's about them. And we life is so short now. We cannot afford to wait another year to start something.
Yeah.
We have to do it now. And so I tried to write, this book is a little different from the others, because I tried to write it in such a way that it's user friendly. It's not a bunch of jargon. It's just everyday language that you can put to use immediately. Because again, this is about your life. This is about your well-being, and you have to take control over it. And so that's my hope, that regardless of what people say about anybody, they will take this book to heart, and they will use it to create the life that they want for themselves. I don't know. I think it's in a portion of the book, because the book's not out yet, guys. I got the different portions of the book. But in the book, I make a statement about, we do so much for other people. When are we going to do something for ourselves? Am I ever going to be important enough to do it for me? And that's what I want people to understand. Do it for you, because you matter. You're the most important person. Do it for you.
I'm going to have to screenshot that and remind you of that from time to time.
I'm telling you how he gets you guys. He telling the truth. He gonna do that too.
Oh, look, but it's a great reminder for all of us.
Yes.
And it is, it is something that's important. And again, yes, doing for others is great.
Mhm.
But as we've all heard the old adage, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
No.
And so you have to be able to take that time for you. Story Dazzle, hello to you. Good to be able to see you on the IG side. Tiana Smith Books, hello to you. Glad you all could join us for this episode of Cyrus Webb Presents. Dr. Teresa A. Smith, or Dr. Taz, has been our guest over there on IG. You guys know her as Dr. Teresa Smith. You all make sure you guys follow her over there. But we're broadcasting primarily on Amazon Live today. Talk with her about her journey, what's been like for her to use her platform, but also her brand new book coming out this summer, Dr. Taz Speaks, Empower Your Journey, 31-Day Meditation. It's available now for pre-order. Make sure you guys go ahead, help us with our goal to go ahead and get it up the bestsellers list there. Definitely make sure you guys are staying connected with Taz. So Taz, where are the best places for them to find you?
Well, you can follow me on IG, as Cyrus just said. My Linktree bio is there, but you can also just go to my website, askdrtaz.com, and you can find all of my social media there. You'll see my shows there and all my YouTube. Everything is right there. And there's a place if you want to reach out to me, you can just drop me a line from there, and I will follow up with you.
All right, Dr. Taz, congratulations to you again. Looking forward to continuing our conversations about the new book soon.
Thank you so much, Cyrus.
More than welcome. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb, saying thank you so much for being with us. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.